Hi, my name is Joe Sweeney and I'm a New Hampshire State Representative. Today I wanted to talk to you about the economy. Many people believe that the economy is some sort of vehicle or a machinery that we all belong to. Well, it's not. There's no engine, there's no movable parts. The economy is really us. The economy is the interactions between different individuals, the interactions between myself and you, between yourself and family members, between businesses. It's all interaction-based economy. Money gets placed from one person to another in terms of a service, the economy grows. Now what the problem is that the economy has these periods called booms, and they have periods called busts. In the boom, the economy expands, while in the bust, the expansion is thwarted and it falls apart. Now history has shown that a boom takes place when there is an expansion of credit. And a boom that is based off of an expansion of credit ultimately leads to a bust. So while building a boom, we plant the seeds for our future destruction. Now to prevent busts, well, we'll need to replace this boom ideology with a more gradual, more stable boom over the period of 20 years. So instead of house prices tripling or quadrupling within 10 years, we would see that same growth over 20 or 30 or 40 years. In the long run, we'll have growth, but we won't have that instant gratification growth that so many of us desire. And then we won't also be scratching our heads 5 years after the growth stops, wondering why the growth stopped. See, in the 1920s, people bought stock options, and they bought stock off of credit. They would put 10% down, and then a bank would buy the rest of that 90% of the stock. The bank would make money. If that stock was profitable, the person would make money off of their stock, and they'd be able to pay the bank back for their loan plus interest. However, once stocks stopped making money, and they stopped being as profitable, and the banks needed to get their money back to go back to the bank customers, then a sort of contraction happened. The money froze up in the banks. The stock market crashed, the money froze up, and individuals who had invested with the bank, put their money there, lost their money. And that's what led to the Great Depression. Now, in 2007 and 2008, we had a very similar thing. For the years prior to, a lot of people were buying houses using mortgages, buying houses with money that they did not have, and money that they could never get back anyways. So when you have that happening, you have a system that is based off of fake money. And once that fake money contracts, like it did in 1929 and as it did in 2008, you have a system that collapses upon itself because you build a deck of cards, but then you remove the base from the cards and everything comes falling down. We do not need that as a nation. What we need as a nation is a system where people build sound investments with sound money. Stop this crediting massacre. Credit isn't that bad, but excessive credit that nobody can pay back, that's the problem. We need a system in which someone can have sound money, and this is money they actually own, plus a little percentage back. We cannot have banks simply giving out a bunch of credits to people who can never pay it back. The idea that everybody should have a home is a rather nice one, but in practicality, we need to take realistic steps and not fantasy steps in order to arrive at that point. It's pointless to simply say we want everyone to have a home, so we're going to give everybody the money and then a few years later take that money away from them. It doesn't work that way. What we need is a series of real economic growth based off actual money and actual economic values. And remember, the economy isn't some sort of factory in Washington, D.C. The economy is the interactions of all 300 million Americans, all 1.3 million New Hampshireites, and all 6 billion people living in, or 7 billion people living in the world. That is the actual economy. So if you want the economy to do better, if you want to start picking it up again, you've got to start with yourself. Individually, pick yourself up. Get the economy going in your neighborhood, and then it'll spread. There's not going to be one solution to the economy. And I'm sorry if you think that there is. But the fact of the matter is that the economy is not some system that should be left up to the politicians to solve. It is an organism that we all belong to, and that it is on us to solve those problems that face our economy. Thank you for watching. I'm Joe Sweeney, and I approve this message.